Welcome to I Know a Guy Bicycles.
Welcome to I Know a Guy Bicycles, hanging out with the guy. Hi, I'm Justin the Guy. Obviously, I have a garage shop. Taking scary how to use bikes one bike at a time.
If you like these videos, please like and subscribe. Here we have a Ultegra triple FC-6500, and I'm using this Old Parks chainring bolt measuring tool, which, by the way, they do not make anymore, so I had to scour the internet to find this one. And it is a quick way to identify bolt pattern sizes, which the outer two chain rings are obviously different than the inner chain ring. This way you can determine what chain rings to do for replacement. Replacing these bolts one by one are usually pretty tricky and stiff, but we have a full 5 bolt pattern on the inside. Keep in mind that the inner chain ring has an indentation where those chain ring bolts go into. Also, I'll be showing there's a particular tab indication where the direction of the chain ring needs to be placed, which I found on quite a few of my repairs or refurbished bikes, that the chain rings, when they've been replaced, were not replaced in the correct either order of bolt pattern, or they were flipped the other way, so the ramping was incorrect. So it is pretty essential for smooth shipping up front to have these chain rings in the proper place. Once I have these off, you can see where there's a little notch that goes the direction of the actual crank arm. As I show here, there's a groove where the bolts fit into, and you got the 5 internal ones. And there's a little tool here, which I'll list below with the actual part number from Parks as well. This is kind of a keyed tool to help with those double-sided chainring bolts. You can hold it on one side and force the Allen wrench on the other to loosen these up. And this particular one is a 5 bolt pattern, but this tool is actually used on the 4 bolt pattern and even on the current chain rings of today. So it's a very handy tool, very inexpensive to have in your toolbox, and it has a flip side. I'll show you here where you take the extractor bolt on the crank arm off to be able to clean, disassemble, or replace. Once you do have the chainring bolts completely off, you want to keep them separate from the inner chainring bolts because they are a different depth or a length. So you don't want to get those confused when you're putting back together. Also keep in mind the slotted nut side goes on the inside of the crank, and the actual Allen side is on the outside of the crank when you reassemble. And these particular ones you do not want to lube. I have found in cases before where a chain ring bolt is just slightly loose, and when that case happened, it had a creaking sound which took forever to identify. Thought it was the bottom bracket, thought it was coming from the back end of the bike. Turned out it was actually the chainring bolt, which needed to be just snugged up a little bit tighter, which was kind of one of those failure moments as a mechanic going, oh, the hell is this simple adjustment for torquing of a bolt that actually made that creaking tick go away. So here you see I'm taking the middle chainring off. The middle chainring also has a little notch showing where it goes, as well as the big chainring. A lot of the new ones will have these particular notches. Here now I'm going to actually show the crank bolt extractor cup. So on the other side of this tool, you can actually loosen this cup. And you want to make sure these are tight to initially, because if it's partially unthreaded out and you're extracting that crank arm, there's a potential of stripping out that crank, which is a very bad road to go down. But in this case, they were tight, and when you loosen that up, basically it's just kind of a big washer bolt. And you take the actual crank arm bolt out, and there is a nylon piece where around that Allen. And also there's this spacer. You want to make sure you reassemble that correctly. That's how you disassemble a whole 6500 crankset. Now, after cleaning and inspecting all the parts, and you want to put it back together, or need to switch out parts and put it back together, this is what you need to do. First, make sure all the parts are clean and the threads are cleaned out. Take that crank arm bolt, make sure all the threads are clean. You can apply new grease when you actually install it. Make sure that spacer is in there so you don't damage the actual spine part that goes over the crank. Using a little bit of a Teflon grease, or lithium grease, pardon me, in there to actually have a good smooth connection when you're extracting or putting together. And that's a nylon piece right there where the extractor cup goes over on top. Keep in mind, these are both aluminum crank arm with aluminum extractor cup, so be careful not to force these because it could cross thread these over, which will cause damage and make it very difficult to work with in the future. So you want to tighten these down until when they're fairly snug, like so. And when we assemble the actual chain rings, you want to start with not the inner one, because the inner one will actually get in the way of putting on the other chain rings. So you want to start with the big chain ring and make sure that the little tab is going towards the outside, aligned with the crank arm. Once you have that in place, you can lay down the middle chain ring, which also has a nub to it, and there's indentations where the inside bolts go in on the actual chainring holes. So you want to make sure that's aligned, and also you want the ramping to be facing inwards, so it's correct. So right here, that is not correct. Flip it over so you have the rampings on the outside, and you see the indentations of those. That's supposed to go in, and that nub to be aligned with the crank arm. Then you proceed to put in the back side of the bolt or the nut, which has that slotted angle for that tool. Then you proceed to put the Allen bolts through on the other side. And here you want to put in, not tightly, but loosely thread in each one of the crank arm bolts so they're all secure. Then you tighten them evenly once you have them all installed. When you're applying the final tension on them, you usually do not need the tool to hold that nut portion in place. Just with a slight pressure of your finger will hold it. That's where you do not add any lube or grease to these contact points. And tighten them evenly all across. And here I'm showing the nubbins and the tabs aligned with the actual chainring. Showing here the incorrect way to install the inner chainring. You'll see the indentations where the actual bolts will fit. Then you line up the actual notch to the crank arm itself. Then you apply the longer chainring bolts by finger tight on all 5 of them first. Then you proceed to torque them down with your Allen wrench evenly. Once those are completely torqued down evenly, then the crankset is ready to be reinstalled onto the bottom bracket. And you can actually lube the spindle of the bottom bracket to help guide those internal teeth into the actual crank arms. And there you have it, reassembled 6500 Shimano Ultegra crankset. Until next time, have a great day.